Good morning, everyone, and buongiorno, benvenute. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Chef Rosario, and I'm also known as Russell Sirianni. But I am so glad that you're able to be here with us today as I do this cooking demonstration on showing you how to make gnocchi, which is an Italian dish that's been around for generations and generations. And and it's even today, if you went to your local supermarket, you can buy potato and gnocchi in a dried form, in a refrigerated form, and in a freezer form. So there's gnocchi everywhere. So the dish never ended. It's still going after all these hundreds of years. So we're in the flow. We're in the flow. And also, I would like to thank everyone today for their donations also, their contributions and their love offerings to our Peace Center, Unity in the Foothills in Torrington, Connecticut. Thank you so much. Now the potato gnocchi, which is what we're going to demonstrate this morning, originated in northern Italy. And you might say, well, why northern Italy? Well, it makes a lot of sense since that's where potatoes are grown. And so therefore that's where the recipe originated. Today, there are many different forms and varieties of gnocchi. For example, now people make them with ricotta cheese or sweet potatoes, kale, butternut squash, and the list goes on and on. But today we're going to concentrate on the original, the potato gnocchi. So let's get started. We're going to talk first about the ingredients that we use to make the dough, since that is the first step. And the ingredients are 1 pound of russet potatoes, boiled with skin on, 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 medium egg beaten. Now, when you're ready to make your dough, of course, you have to have those potatoes ready. So it takes a while to get them boiled to the place that they're supposed to be. So in an effort to save time, I've got mine pretty much all done here. And so I'm going to be demonstrating to you the first step in making the gnocchi dough. So if you allow me just a moment, I'm going to turn around and check my potato. They're very ready. So I'm going to take them out right now. Would you take that pan away, please?
Take what?
The pan, take this pan and put it in the sink. Okay, now when you're boiling these potatoes, it's very important that you cover them with at least an inch or two above the potatoes, because when they're cooking, we want it to cook evenly. We don't want parts of the potato cooked and other parts not cooked. And also you notice that I said russet potatoes. I specified russet because those are the driest potatoes that are available to us in this particular area. And it's important that we try to keep as much moisture away from the dough as possible. That's why we also boil them in their skin, because we want to protect the potato themselves. So, and the reason, of course, is that the more moisture there is, the more flour you have to add. And the more flour you have to add, the tougher your pasta will be. So we want to try to keep them as light as we can. So I have them here, and the first thing we're going to do is to rice them. Now you might say, what's that mean? Well, I have a ricer here. This is what I'm going to use to rice my potatoes. I like this method because the potatoes come out nice and airy. So you started with a nice light potato. If you don't have a ricer, no problem. You can use one of the old-fashioned potato mashers, and you can follow that up with a fork, a kitchen fork. Just make sure that you have no lumps in your potatoes, otherwise that will transfer to your dough and it won't be too nice. So let's get started. I'm going to first do these potatoes. I try to peel the potatoes with the potato peeler, and sometimes that doesn't work and I have to revert to a fork, a knife. And if that doesn't work, I also use my fingers to peel it. And I don't know how they're going to be today, so I might end up all three methods. I'm not sure, but that's going to be our first step. I got our potatoes here, and I'm going to try to peel. Oh, looks like it's working good. The problem is they're very hot, which is what we want, actually. Oh, I should have taken these out a couple minutes earlier, but you bear with me, I'll get it done. Here I am. I didn't go away. There we go. We have one potato here. You know, when I shopped for these potatoes, I wanted to keep the recipe to a pound because I didn't want to make a tremendous amount of gnocchi today. Otherwise, I'd be here spending hours just rolling and cutting. So I decided to do a pound. And I've experimented with this and I found out that it makes about enough for 3 people. So of course, if you want to feed a crowd, just double it, triple it, however you want to do it.
Chef Rosario?
Yes.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Go right ahead.
So you may have already said this, but how long did you boil the potatoes for?
Okay, that's a good point. It takes usually about 40 minutes to boil the potatoes. So keep that in mind when you want to begin making your dough. This is the first step to it. So
Okay.
it's a long step. So, but that's very important that we cook them just before we're ready to use them. We don't really want them to get too cold because then they get harder to rice and harder to mash. So these are a little hotter than I wanted them to be, but it's okay. We're working fine here.
Okay, April has raised her hand. April, please take yourself off mute and ask the chef a question.
Do they have to be boiled whole, or can you cut up the potato?
They have to be boiled whole in the potato skin. That's the important thing to remember, to keep the skin on them because that protects it from the water penetrating into the potato itself. For the same reason I said earlier that the more moist the potato, more flour, heavier dough. Less moisture, less flour, lighter dough. So we want to boil them whole. And that's why it takes a while to do that. Okay.
Chef Rosario, I've never seen a ricer like that before.
You know, it's good for making gnocchi, but actually it's good for mashing potatoes instead of doing the old-fashioned way.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to show you what that's going to look like here in just a minute.
Okay, cool.
Here I go. See that? Isn't that great? Actually, I've had this masher for quite a few years. I was very active one time in doing this kind of thing. I've kind of gotten away from it, but I do love mashing potatoes this way.
That is so cool. Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
Now I got my other potato here, and
Well, I don't know where I've been all my life.
well, you know, unless you see it like this, you probably would never even know that such a thing existed. So I'm glad today to show everyone what
Yeah.
ricer. And even if you don't make the pasta, it's great to have in the house if you
Yeah.
want to enjoy a nice fluffy mashed potato.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks really cool in the bowl. Why don't you show the bowl to the
Oh,
camera?
thank you, Lena. Good idea. This is, oh, here we go.
Like this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that.
Okay, now we're going to get started with our dough. And we've got the first step done here, and we need to find a place where we're going to do our mixing. I have a nice worktop here today that's going to work out perfectly for me. You can use a countertop, or you could use a board. A lot of Italian people have their boards just for this purpose here. And so I'm going to dump these out, right onto my board. I have one of these handy, I call it pastry cutters, but it's a wonderful tool to keep everything together. So I got all my potatoes to go here, and the next thing I'm going to add is the flour. And I have, knowing from doing this recipe before, that a pound of russet potatoes would take about a cup of flour. Now, when I bought the potatoes, it's very difficult to measure exactly a pound. It's either a little bit less or a little bit more. And this time I know that I did a little bit more. So I think I'm going to add just a little bit more flour. And also another thing I like to do is to sift my flour. Again, it spreads it more evenly and it makes for an easier mix when you're mixing the dough. So here I go. You know, I'm going to have to put half a tablespoon of salt in here. I'm going to do it at the same time I'm doing the flour.
Russell, I love that so you put the salt in under the flour as you were sifting?
Yeah, because it'll distribute evenly over the whole mess here.
Yeah.
The potatoes, I should say. Okay, so there's one more thing we need to add to this before we start our mixing, and that is the one egg, lightly beaten. And here I go. Gonna make a mess, but it's gonna all come together. I'm gonna start right away. Nina, would you move these things to the side, please?
Which,
These, yes, thank you. It looks very, very messy at this time, but just be patient with it, be gentle with it, and it's going to all come together into a beautiful dough. I can tell right now that because it's so sticky, that I'm going to have to add that extra flour right now, accounting for more than the 1 pound of potato. So I have it right here. You always have to have what we call bench flour. You have to have a supply always to your side because you need it for a lot of different reasons. And right now, this is the reason I needed it.
Russell, is it warm to your hands still?
Yes, because the potatoes are still a little warm.
Okay.
But it feels good.
I bet it does.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you are. It's wonderfully messy. I didn't know it was so messy. I love that.
Well, this is the messy part. It
Okay.
gets a little cleaner after this.
All right.
And also I have my sifting flour that I use for dusting.
Okay.
And I like to dust my hands and things like that because that will keep you in charge of the dough, so to speak. It doesn't get out of your hand because it won't stick to your hand when you have the flour on it.
You want to be the master of the dough.
I want to be the master of dough. Now I'm going to use my little handy scraper here, and I'm going to take all the little excess parts around, and I'm going to make it all part of the dough now. I'm kneading this a little bit, but I want to be sure not to over knead it because this is not bread where you knead and knead and knead. This is sort of a just to bring it together knead, and you do it as gently as you can
Uh,
as you toughen up the dough.
Chef, we have a question. Can you take a question?
Sure, I can take a question. Go ahead.
This is from our Jean, and she asks, if you want to flavor the dough, would this be the time to add pepper or garlic?
Yes, well, we've added salt to it already. The garlic will come into the sauce that I'm going to make later on. This is pretty much the way it is. We don't really add things like spices to this. It'll disrupt the mixture of the dough and it'll prevent you from cutting and forming your dough properly. So save the seasonings for the sauce. Did I answer that all right?
Beautiful. I want that to be a t-shirt. Save the seasonings for the sauce.
Okay, I think we're coming to the end here now. There you go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm going to set it over here, and at the same time, I'm going to cover it because I don't want it to dry up. In the meantime, I'm going to do a quick wash on my hands here, so bear with me for a moment.
Yep. So, and the chef is washing his hands. As any good chef would. Our marvelous, masterful Chef Rosario is now washing his hands. Ooh, it was fun, you all, to see him make that dough. I really love that. That was cool, huh? I like it. And the chef is finishing now drying his hands. Yes, Beth has had cover. Is it a damp towel, Chef Rosario, or just any?
Just a dry one, just a dry one.
Oh, okay. All
I'm
right.
scraping up the excess stuff on my board here so I can clean it up and get ready to make, start forming the dough, excuse me.
And will you let us know when you're ready for open question season?
Sure, we're ready to do that now before I start the next step.
All right. If everybody could put themselves on gallery view, well, no, you don't have to do that. I'll do that so I can see that there are people with raised hands. Does anybody have a question for the chef at this point? Okay, don't speak all together.
All right, I'm going to start forming the the dough now, and the first thing I'm going to do is to sprinkle my work surface with some flour, and then I'm going to cut a slice of this dough here. And what I'm going to do now is to roll the dough out. And the thing that I'm trying to accomplish is to get it in like a rope form, maybe a little thicker than a rope, of course. And the other day, Lena was fooling with me, and she says, "How about a small snake?" So whatever pleases you.
That's because you said a cigar, and I said that doesn't sound right. What about a snake? That sounds better.
Yeah, there it is. That's the truth.
Lena, we like the way you think.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
I'm rolling this dough out now, and I have to remember that I just don't roll in and out. I have to roll to the sides as well, because that's how I elongate the dough.
Chef, so
Yes.
so can you expound upon that? You're rolling, what you just said, you're not just rolling in and out, you're rolling to the side.
Trying to get a long rope or a long form here. And if I just go in and out, I'm only going to be working on the center. I have to make sure I spread the dough out as I go along. See how it's getting longer?
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to dust it a little bit more.
That looks like it's over a foot, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. It depends on how much dough you grab it from the batch of dough that I made up. So we're getting there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. This end over here is a little bit thicker, so I got to work on this a little bit more.
Right. Is it still warm to your touch, or is it beginning to cool?
It's beginning to cool now. Okay, I think we're getting ready now to cut them. In fact, I'm going to cut this in two, so it'll be easier to work with. And now I'm going to cut this into pieces. And we usually, or I should say, pieces that are about 3/4 inches long. So I find that makes the right amount of dough for one particular pasta for me to fit my mouth properly. So here we go. I'm going to cut now.
Oh, it's cutting so nicely.
Yes, you can use a knife, but I find this tool here useful. But it cuts very easy. Yes, there's no problem. It's not hard. We don't want it to be hard.
Right.
Okay, now there are a lot of people who take it to this step here, and they use it just like it is. They cook it up and they sauce it and they eat it. But I like to do it the old-fashioned way. I like to put ridges on the pasta. The ridges are very important because that's what holds the sauce. So when you take one into your mouth, you get the full body of the whole thing with the sauce and the gnocchi. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You can do it the easy way with a regular kitchen fork. I do want to flour these a little bit so they're easier to handle. So you take your kitchen fork and you hold it about a 45-degree angle and you roll your pasta down.
Look at that.
Roll it down. It will make the ridges.
Oh, wow. Chef Rosario, can you take a question?
Sure, go right ahead.
April, take yourself off mute.
How thick is that rope?
Yes. How thick is it? About 3/4 inch. Maybe a little bit less than that. You know, you have to do a few of them to get the hang of it, but I have something even better than the fork that I like to use. It's an gnocchi board with the ridges already built into it. And I find it much, much easier to use this than to do it on the fork. But either method works. Look at how beautiful that came out.
Where did you get the
Wow.
bowl?
Oh, I got this board at Amazon. I think it was $10. I've had it for a few years.
You call it a gnocchi board?
Gnocchi board, yep, on Amazon. And also what I like about the board is it not only ridges it, but it sort of leaves an indentation in the middle. And
Uh-huh.
that means it'll cook better, more evenly, because the water will be able to get to all areas of the dough.
That's cool. Looks like that the gnocchi board might be a little easier for people who have arthritic hands like me. You know,
The
it's
board is very easy, yes. You just roll them right down, just using your thumb, pushing it ever so slightly. You get the beautiful ridges and you get the hole in the center. It couldn't be easier. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have prepared a sheet pan here. I have some parchment paper and I'm going to dust it lightly. And I'm going to put these finished ones right on my pan here. Be careful not to have them touch each other so they won't stick. And also when they're on the pan here, they'll start to dry out a little bit, which is fine because we don't want them so fresh that you can't handle them. When they start to dry a little bit, they're perfect.
is there a timing that you're aware of for what a little bit of dry feels like, or do you just
No,
live with your
no, I would say, you can keep them this way for up to an hour, actually. And this leads me to another story, though.
Good.
Mention that when I was a youngster in my hometown in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, my grandma Dessin, she used to make these gnocchi like she could do them blindfolded, let me put it that way. And many, many Sundays, she would do a batch in the morning. When I say a batch, I mean she did, I don't know, 100 plus, whatever. And that's because the whole family was coming around noontime to have our feast. And that feast included the gnocchi and flageole and meatballs and sometimes sausage and whatever. It's always a feast, though. But the funny thing I want to tell you about is that she didn't have a place to lay them like I just put in the pan there. There were so many of them. And she didn't have a table or anything like that. So she did what a lot of Italian, I was going to say ladies, but Italians, because there are a lot of men that do the cooking too. But she would take a clean bed sheet and throw it across the bed. And there she would put on all the gnocchi.
Oh my gosh.
And when they were all done, their whole bed was lined with the gnocchi. That's a picture I have in my mind that I'll never forget.
That is fantastic.
All right, I'm going to get on to doing the rest of these here.
Okay. Beth has asked, what is the pan covered with? Parchment paper, and then you put a little flour on top of it?
Flour, yes, and you always dust everything because that keeps everything from sticking.
Okay.
So that's why I keep dusting the board and dusting my hands.
So, Chef Rosario,
Yes.
for those of us at home, would you suggest that we use a bed sheet?
If you're going to make a lot and you'll have no place to put them, it works. It works. Make sure you take a picture of it though, because someday you're going to show that and you're going to be showing people and they're all going to be laughing about it, just like we did today.
Yeah. We may have to explain to our spouses. I would have to explain to Andy what's going on.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, I just
Oh, nice. These are rolling off so beautifully.
yeah. Oh, look at those.
Just love having my sidekick here, my lovely granddaughter Lena, and I have her here too because she keeps me on the straight and narrow because I like to wander off a lot. So
Don't
I
we
have
all?
someone here who can grab me.
Hey, Lena, thank you.
Okay, now we're going to cut another piece of the dough.
And is that your last piece, Russell?
Oh, there's still another little piece here.
Oh, good. Starting to get hungry here.
We get to eat it, so.
You guys are lucky.
Lena's giving away the last line of the show. We're going to be eating it. We're going to have to make it.
I wanted to ask, while you're doing that, I'm going to ask our folks at home, is anybody making this with Russell? No, okay. But who plans on making this later on at some point? Oh yeah, I'm seeing hands going up.
Right, I like to see that. Give it a try. Actually, when you get the hang of it, you go through it pretty fast, and the payoff is worth it all.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, wow, once we learn how to make this, I mean, what a great thing. If you don't have any pasta in your house, you don't have,
Well, it's not even that. If you're having company and you want to treat them to something special, they're going to marvel at it, especially when you tell them that you made it.
Oh boy, I'm thinking Thanksgiving.
Good time.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Jean, take yourself off mute.
Yeah, I was just wondering, in Russell's experience, do you find, I think you prefer potato, but do you find sweet potato is just as good as far as working with or flavor? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Some people have expanded into the sweet potato, and the only thing is with that, it's not a russet potato, so there's a little bit more moisture involved there. So you got to know that your dough is going to be a little bit heavier when you make that kind of a pasta dough. So if you go to a place like Trader Joe's, they feature these a lot in their frozen section, and they have all different kinds there. I've seen the kale ones there. I've seen the sweet potato ones there. Well, that Lena likes to buy some of them because she lives over at her grandmother's with her grandmother there, and when she wants to make a quick dinner for herself, she just pulls out a package of these gnocchi, and she loves them a lot too. So how beautiful that is! My God, I'm amazed myself.
Oh, I love it. Gosh, I can't believe how many are made from, that was 2 pounds?
1 pound.
Oh, 1 pound. Wow. Is anybody else surprised at how many gnocchis are being made? I didn't expect that. Yeah, Kathy, I
Start to eat them, you never have enough, really. You're glad for everyone that you make.
Oh, nice. That's another good t-shirt saying, glad for everyone you make. Every.
I have another question. And I guess it seems like a silly question, but I'm just wondering, I mean, Russell originally said that this amount would serve 3 people. And is that as a side dish or as a main entree? And does he cook this as just like, this is his dinner and that's, or is it a side dish to something else?
Yeah, I didn't quite hear that. Could somebody
Was it more would you consider this more of a side dish or a main entree?
Well, it's probably here in America, we would consider it a main entree. In Europe and Italy, it wouldn't be. They never consider pasta their main course. It's always the first course. And then after they're finished with that, they go on to their meat and vegetables. And then after that, they have some fruit and some juices to drink and so forth. And then they wait a little while longer, and then they start to have their pastries, their cakes and so forth. So, but the pasta in Italy is not a main course. That's strictly an American thing, Italian American thing.
I didn't know that. Did anybody else know that? I didn't know that.
Even in Italy, there's no such thing as Italian cooking, because cooking in Italy is regional. That's what they call. There are 20 regions in Italy, and each region uses what they have available in the area. And that's why in northern Italy, you'll see a lot of things made with butter. And whereas in southern Italy, you start to get into the more of the olive oil, because the olives are grown in the south and the dairy is in the north.
I didn't know. Wow.
Okay, last piece coming up.
Okie dokie. Lena, is this how quickly he does it when you watch him doing it? Because it seems to be going very fast.
He would do it faster, I think, if he wasn't talking. Oh. He's pretty quick when he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
I guess you could say that about everything.
Oh, Kathy
I'm much quicker.
Kathy has written in the chat, cauliflower gnocchi is at Trader Joe's too.
All right, there you go. He's been there shopping, so she knows. Boy, aren't you surprised by the many things that you see today made with cauliflower?
Oh, yes.
I happen to love it myself. Lena is crazy about it. We had it this week. I had a whole head of it and cut it all up, and I roasted it in the oven with some seasonings, like garlic powder and onion powder and some salt and some pepper or whatever you want to put on, a little oregano, and you pour some olive oil over it and you mix it all up, spread it all out, set your oven at around 400 for about, close to an hour. I would start looking at it after 50 minutes and also try to turn it a little bit as it's going along. It is the most delicious thing, but that's just one sample. Now they make crust for pizza with cauliflower, so it's really come into its own. I love it myself.
Who else loves cauliflower?
Eat it. They can make cauliflower soup. They make cauliflower with beans. And, it's just a versatile thing. You can do so many things with it.
Yeah. Have you ever grown it?
No, I've never grown it. When I was a kid back in Pennsylvania, I lived in I would call it a compound today, because we lived in one house and my uncle lived in the next house and my other uncle lived in the back. And in between all the houses in those days was all vegetable gardens. No grass, just vegetable gardens. And we grew everything really. And in the fall, we canned it all.
Oh, nice.
We even had peach trees and pear trees, and we canned those too. And a certain time of the year, around Easter time, that's when we would make the sausage, the fresh sausage, because that's when the meat was available at the best price. And in order to preserve it, we found a lot of different ways to do that. My mother used to can it also in the jars. And when we ate it, it was perfect. But other people have made salamis out of it, supersatas out of it, and that's called dry curing. When you do that, you more or less just you form it and you put it in a casing and you prick it and you let it dry on its own in a cool place. And in time, it dries up and shrivels a little, but it's so delicious, so delicious. And back then, everybody did it. And what I'm happy about today is I still go back to my hometown after all these years, and I never leave town without a supersata. And I love it because you cannot buy that here in Connecticut, what I bring back from there, because the people in Carbondale came from an area of Calabria. And so it's called Calabrese cooking. And you go to another part of Italy and you'll find something entirely different. And but that is where my ancestors came from, and they settled mostly in Carbondale. And so when I go back today, I still have the fresh sausage, and I have the fantastic supersata, and that's why I like to keep going back, because I can't get that anywhere else, and I really appreciate things like that. It's important to me that people still do that, but the sons of the sons are continuing the tradition there. And so that's mostly where you buy it. You have to buy it from somebody who made it. There are very few stores that actually sell that. It's all home stuff. Okay, I'm going to put my last batch of gnocchi on the tray, and we're going to move to our next phase.
He's moving to the next phase. Does anybody have any questions? Lisa, are you making this? Oh my gosh, everybody. Go to the screen that says Don Rizzo. Russell, look at the gnocchis.
Oh!
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Now, let me tell you about something. I see Dawn Rizzo there. And this is the daughter of one of my dearest friends in Danbury when I lived there for many, many years. And Maria, her mother, actually is coming to visit me in July. And she sent me some pictures recently of her own daughter, Dawn, making the gnocchi. And she's just a youngster, and she's doing a beautiful, beautiful job. Show us one more time. Where are those things?
Yeah, we want to see him again.
We want to see them again, Dawn.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful. Oh,
That's excellent.
that's heartwarming.
Oh.
Yeah, I lived in Danbury for maybe 30 years, and I lived in Bethel, which is close to Danbury,
Mhm.
and I lived in Wallingford for 17 years. So I've been around the state. I came back to Bristol after I retired because my mother was still alive at that time, and I wanted to be where the family was. And my mother made her transition when she was 97 years old.
Wow.
But we continue the same tradition that I told you about earlier when we went to our grandma's for dinner every Sunday. We're doing that now at my sister's house. Right there, you see her on the screen. We have our pasta there mostly every Sunday. That's why after service, sometimes you see me click off pretty fast because we don't eat at 2 and 3 o'clock. We eat closer to that 12, although we've expanded it now to 1 o'clock. For my benefit mostly. And we have that tradition going on today, right at my sister's house.
Yay.
Pasta, we have the meatballs. She makes wonderful meatballs and sausage. We have a feast every Sunday.
Wow. Chef Rosario, what are you doing now?
Okay, we're going to move now into making the sauce.
Oh, sauce, everybody.
I'm going to tell you what the ingredients are. Right here. For the sauce, we have 1.5 sticks of butter, approximately 10 fresh sage leaves, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and a cup of the hot water from the pasta pot, and 1 cup of grated Parmigiano cheese. Now, there are many different kinds of sauces you can make. I would have preferred to make a tomato sauce for you, but the timing and all that and the preparation would be a little bit difficult for me to do on the screen, but maybe another time we could do that.
Sure.
I love the tomato sauce. That's my favorite, but you can use a pesto sauce. You can use a cheese sauce. You can any kind of sauce that makes sense to you will work on the gnocchi. So we're going to move over to the. We're going to be moving over to the stove now, and Lena's going to make the adjustment here. If you'll bear with us.
Moving to the stove. The chef is moving to the stove.
What I've got going on the stove here now is I have a large pot of water that I'm going to be using to cook my gnocchi. And right next to it, I have a wide type of pan, which is necessary because when the gnocchi are cooked, we're going to put them into the sauce and just let them warm up within the sauce itself. So I'm going to start making the sauce now so that then I can cook the gnocchi, because the gnocchi cooking very quickly. You know, you put them in there and you give them a stir, and within a minute they're coming to the top. And when they come to the top, it means they're done. I let them leave for another minute. I leave them in there to make sure that they are done. And then I shift them to my saucepan. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. So I got my butter's all melted here. I'm going to raise the, I'm going to put this light on. Does that affect you guys in any way? Is that all right? Or is that too much?
It's great. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to let the sauce, the butter rather, I'm going to let it brown up a little bit, because when you brown the butter, excuse me, that's a layer of flavoring that you're adding to that sauce. So the browning to begin with is very important.
And chef, do you want that kind of nutty smell in the butter? Is that what you're looking for with the browning?
Pretty much so, yes. Yes. Because there's a lot of butter in here, you can't quite get it all. The same as if you might be making something else with the butter where there's less and you can get to that point very quickly. It's a little harder when you have a stick and a half of butter going in the pan here, but I'm going to try to do it as best as I can. It just started to simmer up now, so hopefully it'll be.
How does it smell, Nina? Does it smell good?
Starting to smell good over there.
You know, while we're waiting here, I'd like to show you this little tile that I got when I was in Sicily about 20 years or so ago. And everything on the slate here depicts what Sicily is about. For example, over here we have Mount Etna, and it shows smoke because Mount Etna is smoking all the time. It never stops.
The butter is really bubbling.
Okay.
Oh, we can hear it.
Okay, I'm going to, I'll be back to that in just a moment.
Okay. Mount Etna, we got it in our consciousness.
Yeah, the butter is starting to foam now, getting to where I want it, so I want to keep my eye on it.
Yeah, because you don't want it to burn, right, chef?
Yeah, I just want browning. I don't want burning. I'm going to be adding my sage leaves now, and I'm going to let these probably fry or whatever you want to call it in there for about 2 or 3 minutes maybe. And this is important because when these start to cook, they break up, and the oil from the sage will mix with the brown butter and creating another layer of flavor in your sauce.
Oh,
I'm going to add these now.
oh my gosh. That just sounds so good. Oh my God. Oh, Lena, tell us what it smells like.
It smells so good in here. Once it's all done, it's going to be amazing.
Oh, golly.
That's one thing about an Italian house. You almost can tell it's Italian. If they're practicing their Italian in there, you can tell the smell is right there. Heather's shaking her head. She knows something about it, so.
Oh, wow.
Now the sage are starting to sizzle. That's
Okay.
what I want to see. I want to see them sizzling up. I want to see them crisp up a little before I say they're done.
Oh,
Our next step is we're going to be adding a cup of water from the hot pan into the sauce also. There, thank you very much. We're not quite ready for that yet.
okay.
Anyway, that's Mount Etna. It's an active volcano. Lots of time it spouts a fire and a little bit of lava, but they've been living with this forever. So it's right in the middle. I won't say it's in the middle of the island, but the island itself in Sicily is an island. It's the only island in the Mediterranean that no matter where you are on the isle, you can see the volcano. You can see Mount Etna,
That's cool.
the high structure there. Over here, we have some of the products of Sicily. We have citrus, orange, and lemons. And here's the vino, the wine for making their wine, of course. And over here, we have the Mediterranean Sea. Because they are surrounded by water, fish is very, very big in Sicily. And it's the most wonderful dishes they make with that. And over here is some ruins, some ancient ruins, because Sicily was occupied over the years by the Spaniards, by the Greeks, by the Romans, and they all left parts of their selves there. So Sicily is a very, very interesting place. You can spend all your vacation just in Sicily without even going to the mainland, but you can't forget that either, because that's the most amazing place there is for me in the world. And the most amazing thing I've seen in my whole life was in Florence, Italy. And I was just overwhelmed by it. And I'll never forget it, because when I walked into this room, I saw this big, unbelievable sculpture done by Michelangelo of the statue of David. It's the statue of David. And when you get in it, you're just so amazed. You see every vein in the body. You wonder how a man could do such a feat as this. But I'll never forget that too. And I always say it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I guess for the rest of my time, I'll be saying the same
Butter is
thing.
really smelling good over there.
Okay.
Our sous chef hat is on you.
Okay, yes, I can see that brown. I can see this. Oh, we're going good here now.
Okay.
I'm going to be adding that cup of water, and I'm going to be careful because it's going to sizzle up.
All right. I'm going to ask the group a question. Anybody else been to Italy? Who else has been to Italy here? Anybody? Oh, yay, Ellie. Fantastic.
What's going on?
Ellie's been to Italy. I asked the group if anybody else had been, and Ellie raised her hand, and Rob is raising his hand. Yes. So Ellie and Rob have been.
My compadre's there. How nice.
Yeah.
I hope you had a good time when you were there.
What was the question? Sorry.
He hoped you had a good time.
Oh, yeah. We went to Sicily. We went to Florence and different areas. And we want to go back.
I think you should have a field trip.
Yes. Yeah.
What a good idea.
That's what to be the guide.
Russell,
And
yeah.
I'm in. I'm in.
We're ready to go
Good
too.
idea. I also saw the famous painting of the Last Supper, and that's up in Milano, up in northern Italy. And I was fortunate to see it because shortly after they closed it down for a restoration. And when they restore something there, they don't do it in a month. It takes years for them to do the right job. And it's reopened again now, so I guess people are free to see it again. And I'm trying to think of the famous painter who did it right now, and I can't bring it to mind, but it's probably one of the other wonders that I've seen in Italy.
Leonardo did that one.
Leonardo, yes, Da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci. All right, Chef, what are you doing now? What's happening?
I am raising my temperature on my water up to a boiling point, And I want to have a nice roll to it. I don't want to be a rapid roll because that would be too tough on the pasta, but a nice gentle roll. And I'm ready to cook the pasta now. And as they are done, I'm going to put them right into the sauce.
Okay.
How do you know that the pasta is done cooking?
You know the pasta is done cooking because they come to the top, they float to the top. And when they're all up there, then you know they're ready, they're done. And again, I like to leave them just a tiny bit longer to be sure that they are cooked, but you can always taste one too to see if they're ready. And so I'm trying to get. No, I'm bringing my water. It's very close now to the point that I need it. So let me move over here.
All right, this is good. The chef is moving over to the stove. This is getting very exciting. The moment that we've all been waiting for. And the chef is placing his gnocchi into the water. It is not a rolling
Into the boiling water, I'm putting the gnocchi.
boiling water, not a rolling boil or roiling. You would call it a gentle boil.
Yeah, more or less, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to put half of these in now.
All right. I'm getting hungry. Who else is getting hungry? We need aroma vision, April said. Yes, we do.
They go down to the bottom when you put them in, they sink, so you got to give them a gentle stir.
All right, gentle stir.
Oh, a couple, they're slowly starting to come to the top, so.
Right. Lena, are you getting hungry?
I'm getting really hungry. I'm excited.
I'm going to add the black pepper to the sauce now too.
Okay.
A quarter of a teaspoon. I'm going to stir. I'm going to, what do you call this?
Right.
I'm going to grind it.
Okay.
So Gene, these are those seasonings that we talked about earlier that are going to make it taste good. It's all in the sauce.
It's all in the sauce. That's another t-shirt.
Okay. These are almost ready to come out.
Oh boy. How are our chefs, Dawn and Lisa, how are you guys doing?
I'm using this special tool I have here.
Uh-huh.
A little strainer like this would work too, but you want to lift them out of the pasta water and put them into the sauce. And
Looks like our chefs at home are negotiating what kind of sieve they're going to use. Is that what you're doing?
some kind of a strainer, I would call it.
All right. Yeah.
This is a handy one to use.
That's a nice big one.
Yes, it is.
Excuse me. April's raised her hand. April.
Is that sauce still cooking or did you turn the sauce off?
I have it on low. I don't really want these to cook anymore. They're cooked already. I just want them to heat up nicely in the sauce. Okay. And I'm going to shake them in the pot. And I'm going to cover them. And I'm going to put my other batch of gnocchi in for cooking.
Chef, you just put the gnocchi right in the pot with the sauce? Is that what you just did?
Yes, I did. The cooked pasta, yes.
Okay. Imagine that helps the gnocchi absorb all those flavors.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to wait for these to come to the top, and then I'm going to put them into the sauce. And the last thing I do is add the grated Parmigiano cheese, and give it a nice, gentle mixture from underneath. Never like this or this. Nice turnover slowly, and that's all you need to do. Just let them bathe in that sauce, and they're ready to eat after that.
Boy. Oh boy. Now, Chef Rosario brought up something that there's a mistake I often make of
What's that?
and that is you were saying come up from underneath.
Yes.
And I think I make the mistake of coming from on top.
Ooh.
No, okay.
When
Never
you,
again, I promise.
when you do it from underneath, it's gentle that way. And you can just turn them in a natural way over, and it's an easier process.
Okay.
Okay, I think these are getting ready.
Lisa, are you guys getting ready down there?
Yeah, we had an internet problem, so now we're doing cooking.
I hope my sister is enjoying this. Do you hear me, Connie? Hey.
And
You need something to stir these in the second drawer there. A couple of spatulas.
Jeff, I saw you just gently shaking that saucepan.
Yeah. I got a couple of spatula type tools here because I can grab them nice and easy from underneath, and they're large enough so that you're not juggling them all over the place. So I'm going to do that now.
It's almost like tossing a salad, right?
Yeah, yeah, I would say that, yes. Okay, now again, the last step I'm going to do is to add the Parmesan cheese. Lena, if you can move that back there, that would be good.
Jeff is about to add Parmesan cheese. Oh, look. Oh, that's a lot of cheese, Chef. Wow.
That's an intricate part of this particular sauce because it's going to coat all the pasta in a sort of a melted type of cheese when it's done. It's not going to stay whole. It's going to melt.
Oh, God. Oh, Lordy.
It just adheres to the pasta.
Oh.
All right. This is what the bottom, this is what it looks like. Lena, where's the serving bowl? If you get that for me on the table over there, please.
You gonna mix it a little more?
No?
The chef and his granddaughter are about to eat. And we will watch.
I want to get the music ready. Okay, we're going to move to the table.
Okay,
We're going to join you over there, okay?
okay, here we come.
Okay.
Ba ba bum 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 bum
Oh,
bum
we got music.
bum 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 bum.
Hi.
Oh,
I want to thank all of you so much for being here today. I really, really enjoyed this a lot. And the only thing I can say at this point is thank you, grazie, ciao, and until I see you again, arrivederci, buon appetito.
Be right over.
oh,
Music.
everybody take yourself off of mute.
Yay, looks good.
Yay.
Oh, hungry.
There's Valerie too.
Thank you, Russell.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. How did you like it?
What do you think? Favorite bowl?
It's good.
Let's see what we got here.
Oh, that looks good. Mm.
Have a bowl.
Nice and tender, which is what the goal is to get them tender.
More. Some more.
Oh, they're delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry you can't be here to enjoy it.
Oh, but we're just gonna have to go make it. And God,
How many of us made it?
how's yours, Lisa?
Oh, it's good.
Hey, are we going to,
Try some fresh ones, Mom.
what are we
I'll
doing
like it
now?
2 minutes and then stay hot in there.
Any questions? If anybody has questions,
Does anybody have any questions for the chef?
if
Did
they
you
have
grate
any
all that cheese?
experience they would like to share with me, please
Oh, yeah.
email me at R. Sirianni,
Did you make them again?
RIANNI at Comcast.net. We'd love to hear from you.
April has a question for you, chef.
Anyways, I'm usually,
Grate all that cheese?
I'm
Did
usually
you
the
like
first to talk to that sounds good.
grated?
Do it when we first start. Is it on mute or not?
I
I missed that question.
Was that fresh grated cheese? Did you grate all that or did you buy it?
I bought it at the Italian store. It is fresh grated, but I didn't grate it myself. We have a wonderful store here in Bristol where you can buy this fabulous cheeses and Italian different items that I like to use a lot. And so I buy this there at that store. And so it's freshly grated, but I didn't grate it. And it's
There's a water
a
bottle.
flavor when it's fresh.
Is
When
that
it's been hanging around for a while.
Let me get it. I don't. Is it enough?
Well, chef, thank you. Thank you, everyone. What a rip-roaring success. Look, Lisa and they're eating too. Yay, fantastic. Bravo, chef, yay.
Thank you. You know, I did a lot of thinking about this, and of course I was worried about a lot of it, but I can see how how easy it actually is to do when you're enjoying yourself and you have nice friends with you to enjoy it as well. So I loved it, and I did this for the first time, so who knows, it may happen again sometime.
I
A lot of other recipes.
think it'll happen again. Oh, bless you all. I'm gonna.
Don Rizzo over here I'd like to say hi to her and
Yes.
Maria's family, and for being part of my life when I was in Danbury, and they're coming to visit me over here in Bristol. So I'm so happy that they can be with me today. And that Dawn is a young girl, but she can do this also, equally, if not better. So thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, Russell, you're the best. Well, we
Okay.
love you all. Thanks for being with us. We'll do it again.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.